In this third step, first of all, what we need to do essentially is to get the image paths. So I'm going to use OS work for this scenario. Yeah, and then files in OS.work. I'm going to start with the tree. And then I say for files. Yeah, I'm going to join the base directory to get the relative path of the images, the base directory with the file path. Then I'm going to append it in the train paths. Yeah, then after doing that, the same goes also for the test path. So test path also. I'm going to copy this one. Then I change this one. Now it becomes test one. Then here will now be test paths. Then I convert them into the NumPy equivalent. So use train paths. So test paths. Then I get to confirm that all the files that we need are available. Yes, so let's now create the Cats&Dogs dataset loader. Yes, and then we are going to inherit from the class dataset, which we saw it's from the torch.utils.data module. So we're going first of all to define the initialization itself, and then we have image paths, batch size, and image path. So here we actually don't need the batch size because the batch size will use it in the data loader. So yeah, here the batch size is actually not needed. We are needing these ones. Then we get to make them available throughout the entire class. Do we do that using the self dot? Yeah, and then so we don't have this one, and then we get to define a very mandatory step in PyTorch, that is the transform stancer for PyTorch, which we essentially use to permute the image that is from batch height width channels to batch channels height width, because the latter is the form that PyTorch uses during training. Yeah, so we'll have to define that transforms. Yeah, so we're going to use the touch vision. Touch vision transforms. So this touch vision essentially has a really, I can say it has its syntax really similar to the Albumentations way of transforms. So if you have a good way dealing with the Albumentations, you'll really understand this one better. And also if you also have a way with dealing with the PyTorch transforms, you also get to understand this one better. So we're going to, I'll go on to the next. So it's a special function, so we'll have to do that. It gives us the length of so this one will have a coordination with the data loader in order to efficiently load the images. Then after that, we get to define the get item special function. Yes, and then we pass here to here. Apart from self, we have the index, and then we get to extract from. Let me just copy paste the code all the way here. So yeah, get to extract a certain batch. Then after that, we essentially, so after getting a certain index of a certain batch, the image paths, that is, then we actually get to read it. So let's define the function for reading, which is known as read image. So yeah, itself, of course, because it's part of a class. Then we get to pass on to it the path. Yeah, so we're going to first of all read the image from path. Then after that, we convert the image to from BGR to RGB. CV2.color BGR to RGB. Then we get to resize the image because all the batches must have the same image size. So yeah, it's default config image size. Yeah, let me just check to ensure I defined, or I did not actually define the image size. Let me do it. Yeah, so image size is actually, or just, but you just put it. Let me just use a static value here, 300. Yeah, so that's, then after that we return the image. So that's the read image. Then after reading the image, we have to do a transforms on it. So the want to train transforms or self test transforms. So that's what we are going to do next. So we are going to actually define the functions for the transforms. So it's get transforms. Then the transforms. Yeah, let me just copy paste the code here. Okay, then yeah, it's now yeah. Let me actually make it. Yes, I think it's good. Then for tests, yeah. So after returning the image here, we'll have to get the transforms. So whether we want to actually do a train transforms or a test transforms, the get transforms function will help us with that. Then get transforms. Yeah, then after getting the transforms, we'll actually first of all do the general transforms, that is to permute the images before we do the other transforms. So Yeah, actually, let me define the function here that takes the two transforms, that's the permutations transforms and the argumentations transforms, and actually does them together. So this is self, and then we have the transforms, that's from the argumentations, then the image which you want to do the transforms. So copying the code, it's this one. So you see that we will get we'll pass the transform, so the trainer test, and then we do the pass the image through the transforms, and then get the resulting image, and then pass it into the tensor transforms of the torch vision in order to permit the image. And also, apart from permitting it, I usually scales the image from 255 to from 255 to 0 to 1. So with that in mind, there's this value normalize with this parameter, sorry, known as maximum pixel value. I think I should set it to 1.0 because the normalize also actually converts transforms the range, but since to transfer to tensor also does that, I don't know if they usually communicate with each other to so that they can avoid actually normalizing the range twice. But yeah, I think, or I rather just leave it. I think it's okay. Yeah, so but I'll look into that and tell you about that later. So after doing that, now we are done. So we just call the functions here. So image is equals to self dot dataset transforms. So we pass the transforms in the image. Yeah, then after that, if training is true, remember that the string for this the training image paths have the training image paths actually have the label of the animal that we want to classify, but for the test we don't have. So we actually don't want to extract if it is test, because test that doesn't actually have the labels here. So return image. So after defining the torch.utils.data.Dataset, so here we have defined it. So I guess we can, yes, running it. Yeah, now it's okay. It's okay.